I am beginning to think that these birds aren't real people might have a bit of a point. Um, Researchers create new robotic bee with full freedom of movement. B++, a new insect-sized robot, has the full 6 degrees of movement that a real insect has. This came out 2 days ago. Oh man, a new robot affectionately called B++. Man, I can't even get my hat on straight. What is going on with that? There we go. That was annoying me. A new robot, affectionately called B++, can fly around with a full 6 degrees of freedom, marking an incredible advance in miniature robotics that has potential to help with everything from artificial pollination to search and rescue operations. The robot, developed by a team of researchers at Washington State University, has 4 wings made up of carbon fiber and mylar and a lightweight actuator to control the wing. It is the first robot of its kind to fly stably in all directions, according to the WSU statement, including the twisting motion known as yaw. Typically, the hardest for robots to manage successfully. The research team, led by Nestor O. Perez Arancibia, the Flaherty Association professor at WSU School of Mechanical and Materials Engineering, published a report on B++ this week in the journal IEEE Transactions on Robotics, and Perez Arancibia is set to present the report at the IEEE International Conference of Robotics and Automation set for the end of June. The only reason I know how to say that name is because the Toronto Blue Jays had a catcher. Was it the Toronto Blue Jays? I believe. JP Arancibia. I believe he had a walk-off home. Was it the Blue Jays or the Red Sox? I just remember JP Arancibia. I can't. That was back in the day. The robot is decades in the making, with robotic researchers around the world looking to develop an artificial flying insect that can someday provide new ways to pollinate plants, carry on biological research, and conduct search and rescue operations in tight environments, like a collapsed building or structure. That would be freaking cool. Can you imagine like a swarm of these little robots like flying in all directions? It's like the monkeys in the Wizard of Oz. They are these little robots are the flying monkeys, and they're gonna come up and they're gonna swarm you, and they're gonna have little claws on them, and you're gonna have a million flying robot bees carrying you away, and each one has a little like detonation device in it, and so that if they want to, they just fly up to you and blow your head up. That's what they. God, this is a li- we're in a weird time period right now. In order to create the robot, researchers had to effectively remake the brain of an insect digitally using special controllers. It's a mixture of robotic design and control, Perez Arancibia said. Control is highly mathematical, and you design a sort of artificial brain. Some people call it hidden technology, but without those simple brains, nothing would work. In 2019, Perez Arancibia, 2 PhD students built a 4 winged insect robot that was light enough to lift off as well as pitch and roll, giving it 4 degrees of motion, but the final 2 degrees, known as yaw, was harder to implement. If you can't control yaw, you're super limited, Perez Arancibia said. If you're a bee, here's a flower, but you can't control the yaw, you are spinning all the time as you try to get there. The system is highly unstable, and the problem is super hard, he continued. For many years, people have theoretical ideas about how to control yaw, but no one can achieve it due to actuation limitations. At just 95 milligrams, possessing a 33 millimeter wingspan, the bee robot is still larger than your average bee by a hectare of nearly 10, but it's an important step in the development of functional robotics at this scale, and one of the biggest hurdles into the development has been cleared. So, like, I mean, it's like a carpenter bee. Is that how big a carpenter bee is? How big are carpenter bees? Let's see. Half inch to an inch. So it says there are what? 33 millimeter wingspan. How many millimeters are in an inch? I don't care. You can make fun of me if you're from other places. We don't use millimeters and stuff. So 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters. So that would mean that it is over an inch long by a little bit. So basically that would mean that, so what is 33? So it would be 1.29 inches. So it's about that big in wingspan. So it's like a horsefly size right now, I would think. That sounds about right. So a giant horsefly sized bee flying around. Yeah, you could use less of them now. Now instead of a million little bees to carry you off, it's only like 500,000. I don't know what the exact size would be, but I have a feeling that that kind of stuff is going to happen. They're going to somehow find a way to make these things turn into one cohesive unit and carry stuff around, and or they go in and, as I said, each one has a little explosive on it, and they fly into an area, and they just, what are you going to do against a billion little bombs going off? Like, think about that. A swarm of these little tiny drones, the tiniest little drones, you fly over in a plane and release them, and they just go down, and they just hit everything. There's nothing you can do. I understand this is DNA reptiles, and this is not an animal-related thing, but it's animal-related enough that I felt like this is something I wanted to go over. Yeah, so those birds aren't real, guys. I mean, we're there, almost. If they can make something the size of a large bee, they can make something the size of a bird. Come on. Look at that. Birds aren't real. They had it all right all along. Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, that's very interesting. As I said, this is going to be used for like war and stuff like that. They're going to attach a little bomb to it, little tiny thing of C4 just enough to blow your head up, or they'll have like 10 of them attached to it at once and blow up simultaneously, and then that's it. Or they'll just fly up your nose and explode. Or other places, who knows. Or they have like a little tiny bit of poison on it. You know, they used the bean and got the whatever, the Walter White poison, whatever it was with the bean. They fly up to you and they sting you. They have a little needle that touches you with the poison. You'd be none the wiser. One little bee bzz, around your head real quick, lands on you, ding, flies off. You're like, ow. And then 5 minutes later, you drop dead. That's the way my mind goes with this. And yeah, you could use it for some really cool stuff. You could use it for some really cool stuff. You could definitely do a search and rescue mission. This thing could fly in tiny little places that no one ever thought you could get to. What's that? Nice of masturbation. Nice. I really didn't want to know about that. That's really cool. And soon enough, there are going to be micro robots that live in the water, and they'll just release it into the pipes, and then people drink tap, and all of a sudden they're going to have a little robot in them and never even know it. I don't know. Maybe that's conspiratorial. Who knows? But let me know what you think down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know if you like this kind of content. What kind of content do you guys want to see? I know you guys say things like, I love the stuff you do, which is awesome. But what stuff would you like me to actually look into? Because this was sent to me, and I thought it was interesting, so I went over it. But let me know. Send me stuff. If you go to my Discord, which you kind of have to be a patron to do, but if you're a patron and you're in my Discord, you can just send me stuff directly. You know, just a little petal of that. All right, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay wild.